only through experimentation can you get real invention. The most important inventions come from trial and error.
You have to expect to suck at the beginning. Just expect to suck.
There isn't a single entrepreneur I've met that's been successful that can't list a whole bunch of disasters they were involved in.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time.
Good morning, Believe Nation. I am not a morning person, but when you start your day with a routine that inspires you, it will change your life. So good morning, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Jeff Bezos.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Failure and invention are inseparable twins. Everybody wants to be inventive. If you go talk to corporate America or any institution, actually, government agencies and so on, innovation is something to be proud of. People like invention. But the problem is they don't like failure. And you cannot have invention without failure. If you already know it's going to work, it's not an experiment. And only through experimentation can you get real invention. The most important inventions come from trial and error with lots of failure. And the failure is critical, and it's also embarrassing. And so that's why people, when we're kids, we always are doing trial and error, and we're never embarrassed. You watch a little toddler, and they will try for hours to put a square peg in a round hole, and it never works. But it doesn't keep them from trying. And they try things like that, and that's how they learn. And we all have that when we're little, and then as we get older, somehow it's not as cool as you get older to fail and to fall down. It looks clumsy, and so we get in our grooves. We have a set of expertise and skills. It's kind of a comfort zone, and you have to constantly push yourself to say, no, I don't care about failure. In fact, I say at Amazon, we have to grow the size of our failures as the size of our company grows. We have to make bigger and bigger failures, because otherwise none of our failures will be needle movers. And so I would see it as a very bad sign over the long run if Amazon wasn't making larger and larger failures. And if you do that all along the way, that is going to protect you from ever having to make that big, kind of Hail Mary bet that you sometimes see companies make right before they fail and go out of existence.
You have to expect to suck at the beginning. Just expect to suck. Whenever you're starting something, from the beginning, you're starting a new business idea, you're starting a new YouTube channel, you're launching a podcast, whatever it is, expect to suck. Most people never start because they expect to be great. And that's the problem. That is keeping you where you are. Your addiction to perfection is the disease that we need to solve, to cure, to help you get to where you want to go and what you know you're capable of doing. So in my Movement Makers program, we just started a 100 video challenge. 100 video challenge, you got to make 100 videos. Because I think people quit way too soon. I showed people in my group where I was at 100 videos. And I had a couple hundred views, I had 3 comments on my 100th video, 100 videos in. Then I showed Gary V's 100th video, and he had 800 views or something, and also 3 comments. And I think we just judge ourselves too harshly too soon. 100 videos in, I had a couple hundred views, Gary had 800 views, and you're expecting to be great from your first video. This is a real problem. We have to talk about this. I'm all for improvement, and I'm all for being our own harshest critic. But there's not enough self-love built into the equation. You just think that you're going to be amazing from day one, and as a result, when you watch your first thing, you realize, wow, I didn't expect to suck that badly. You quit. I can't tell you how many people I've seen make videos, and because it looks good, right? You've seen other people's videos, so you know it looks good, and you think, I may not be that good, but I can be pretty good. I can do better than that person. And then you press record, and then you see how nervous and awkward and uncomfortable you are on camera. And then what? You delete the video, or you just hold on to it and never post it. That's the problem. I didn't like any of my videos until 350 public videos in. 350 public videos was when I finally liked one of my videos. Like, I'm not completely embarrassed by what I'm making right now. And it's that consistency and that follow through. And I think you can get there a lot faster than me, because I was introverted and shy and scared and afraid to get on the camera and all of it, and I just kept going. I think most people can get there faster than me, but it still requires doing the work. It still requires posting the videos, and it all stems from thinking that you're gonna fail at the beginning. It doesn't mean that you're a failure as a human. Thinking that you're gonna suck at the start, expecting to suck at the start, actually gives you the freedom to create, to make, to go, to do, to launch, to just do something. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human. It means you're amazing as a human. One of the guys in our challenge who's become a friend, Zan DeMan Smith, so he's doing his 100 videos. He wants to do 100 videos in 100 days. Here's a guy who procrastinated for a long time in making videos, who had only a couple videos up on his channel over a number of months, and finally decided, you know what, I need to do this. I need to stop being perfect. I need to start creating. So I'm gonna take Evan's challenge of 100 videos inside Movement Makers, and I'm gonna do them in 100 days. I wanna do 100 videos in 100 days. And I was talking to him last night, and he was saying that he still wants it to be perfect. And it's okay to strive for perfection, but not at the expense of actually releasing. So he looks at his videos and he says, I want my videos to be like Brendan Burchard's videos. Okay, great. But don't expect to be Brendan Burchard from day one, right? That could be the ambition. That could be the, hey, I love how Brendan intros his videos, or I love the camera he's using, or I love the way he delivers his message, or I love the editing that he's got. That's great to be inspired by it, but to not judge yourself for where you are right now compared to where Brendan's at right now in his content creation. How long has Brendan been doing this for? And before YouTube, he was doing speaking, right? So how much practice does he have as a communicator? And to compare yourself right now to say, I'm not gonna release a video until it's Brendan Burchard level is ridiculous. But that's the problem that we find ourselves in. That's the trap that we find ourselves in. You know it looks good. You want to create at that level, but you don't have the skills yet to create at that level, and so you stop. And how do you develop those skills to get to that level? By doing the work. How do you develop the skills? You can't just read about making YouTube videos. You can't just read about doing squats, right? You can't just read about getting on a diet. You gotta actually do the work. If you want to get the results, you actually gotta do the work. If you want to develop the skill sets, you gotta actually do the work. And that's the biggest thing most people are missing, because you don't want to suck. You're afraid that when it shows up, people are gonna laugh at you, you're gonna laugh at you, you're gonna feel less confident because you wanna make something great. Okay, so how do you fix it? How do we actually solve that problem? How do we get you from that mindset to one of creating, of making, of pushing, of expecting to suck at the beginning? Okay, step one, tell yourself I expect to suck. Tell yourself that this first video, this first podcast, this first book, this first whatever you're gonna do, I just expect it to suck. Just remind yourself of that, but then praise yourself for it. Praise yourself for it, for starting. Because what you need to do is start tying your self-worth, your self-confidence, your self-love to the effort you put in daily, as opposed to the results. You're praising yourself for the results that you get. You're looking at that piece of content you're making, that video, and thinking, I suck as a human because my first video sucked. No, you rock as a human because you did the scary thing and you pressed publish, right? You posted it, you started it. The effort, it was hard to do, right? You may not get the result you're looking for, but it was really hard to do. If you woke up every day and did the work that was hard to do, you will start accomplishing some amazing things. If you only started doing the things that you knew you would accomplish, you're gonna live your life small forever. So tell yourself with the next thing that you're afraid to do that you expect to suck at the beginning. You just expect to suck. 2, remind yourself of who you're trying to serve and help. So what's your message? Think about the message that you've got for the world. What's your message? Is your message only do something when you're perfect? Is your message only do something when you know it's gonna work out? Think about who you're trying to reach. Think about if you've got kids or future kids, what you wanna teach them. Think about who you used to be and the message back to your former self. Think about all of that. What is your message? Be perfect? Never do anything until it's 100% perfect? No, that's not your message. So you have to start living your message. If you want people to actually listen to you, to actually follow through on what you're saying, you can't just talk into a camera. You have to actually be living it. So show me. Show me. Show me. I want to see your first video, and I want to see how it sucks, because here's what's going to happen. If you're starting a 100 video challenge inside Movement Makers or just on your own, if you're doing it and your first video is amazing, what are people going to say? Imagine what people are going to say. The people you're trying to serve, influence, persuade to live a better life, they're going to look at your first video and say, man, you were great from the start. Well, I can't be like you. Look at you, had all that natural talent. Meanwhile, you made that video 400 times before you actually pressed publish on it. They need to see that your first video sucked. They need to be able to look back on your story and say, man, look at where you came from. Go back and watch my first video. It's still there. Didn't delete it. It's still there. You can learn. You can see me sitting down, nervous, sweating, in a suit, trying to memorize my lines. It's a funny video to go back and watch. It's still, cringeworthy for me to watch it back, but I'm also proud that I did it. I was so nervous, I was so scared, and I still did it, and I still posted it. And then go watch the future videos and how poorly edited they were, and how bad I was on camera, and how the lighting sucked in almost all of them, and the camera was shaky, all of the mistakes that I made. You can go back and watch my journey and see where I've come from. That's inspiring. I want your story to be inspiring too, but that doesn't happen if your first video is perfect. So think about who you're trying to serve. Think about what your message is to the world, and then actually start living it. One of the biggest things that is a roadblock from where you are to where you want to be is not the desire, is not the idea, is not the willingness to serve, is not the heart, right? You've got all that. You've got the idea, you've got the heart, you've got the ability, you know you're capable of more, you've got all that. What's the difference? You're just not doing enough. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid of putting it out there and that nobody will see it. You're afraid of putting it out there and people will see it and what they're gonna say. You're afraid, you're living in the fear zone. And so you have to get out of it. And you do that by expecting to suck. And you tell yourself, I expect to suck, and I'm tying my self-worth to my effort. And you actually pat yourself on the back and celebrate the fact that you tried and you put it up there. And two, you think about who you're trying to serve. This isn't even about you. This is about the people you're trying to help. The people who need to hear your message. The people who will see what you're making and get inspired to live a better life themselves. The people who you're trying to solve problems for. Think about them. And that can give you the extra courage to go off and create and make and actually build the life that you deserve, that your family deserves, and that the people around you deserve too. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week to act on it. When you watch a video and just get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. But when you get motivated and create a specific action plan, you jump from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. That's what I want for you. And then when you commit to other people, the chances of you following through are 95%. So let's make it happen, Believe Nation. We don't just watch videos here, we do something about it. What was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? Let me know, put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've designed a special free training where every day I send you an unlisted video to help you move your confidence forward. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a new habit. So I'm going to email you every day for 254 days for free a link to a video to help shift your confidence and belief forward. The link to sign up is in the description below.
If everything has to work in 2 to 3 years, then that limits what you can do. If you absolutely can't tolerate critics, then don't do anything new or interesting. I took my Amazon lottery winnings and built the heavy lifting infrastructure that does take billions of dollars in CapEx to lower the cost of access to space.
I think the whole issue of failure, people are so scared of it, but it visits everybody. That's what I tell them. And I teach this stuff. I try and teach it. I say it's going to happen. I guarantee you. And it's going to be miserable when it happens. And even worse if it's your own money, which happens a lot. But at the end of the day, you should know with certainty that everybody around you that's successful has already tasted that sting. There isn't a single entrepreneur I've met that's been successful that can't list a whole bunch of disasters they were involved in.
And is there anything more breathtakingly dull than somebody who was born into a fabulous trust and who never really failed at anything?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and say, if you're telling me all you've had in your life is success, I know you're lying to me. That's what I know, because it just doesn't work that way. Yeah. That's just the nature of entrepreneurship.
If you want another awesome video with Jeff Bezos, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If you focus on the controllable inputs to your business instead of the outputs, in the long term, you get better results.
Dream big, act small.
Failure is essentially irrelevant.